I waited almost an entire month to play Crimson Desert. Mixed reviews made it hard to know what to think about the game. So I decided to find out for myself. I'm going to take my time, try to play the game in first person, and see just how immersive of an open world Crimson Desert can be. Previously, I had been tasked with making the world a better place by the Wizard Lucen and the White Crow, and Count Roberts asked me to clear bandits from his quarry in the north. This is Crimson Desert, my first playthrough. The game reloaded me somewhere randomly near where I saved, and I continued my journey to Karen Quarry. The weather was bad. Before I caught sight of the quarry, I was attacked by bleed bandits and I took them out. I picked up a spear off of one of the bodies. Apparently, I was in the region of the Karen Quarry as a countdown bar appeared on the left of the screen. 4 areas appeared on the left as well, labeled Infirmary, Timber Warehouse, Barracks, and Marnie's Excavatron. Each bandit cut about 0.5% off the countdown, so I figured I would need to take out about 200 bandits in order to complete the quest. I took out some bandits near the first house beside the quarry and looted the bodies. They were bandits patrolling the perimeter and they attacked me. I accidentally destroyed an entire house while fighting the bandits. I found some refugees being held captive and released them.
You've done me a great service.
A new counter appeared labeled Pylonese Refugees Liberated. My current count was 4, and the bandits were down to 94%. Looking into the quarry, I noticed the entire place was overrun by the bandits. No other choices were readily apparent, so I went down into the quarry and began to fight my way through the horde. One of the bandits dropped some armor called Scarlet Blade's cloth armor, which was better than mine, so I put it on. It also said it was a bleed bandit's disguise, but that did not stop the bandits from attacking me on sight, so I'm not sure what that meant. The quarry was shaped like a diamond, and I started on the southern tip. Going north along the eastern edge of the quarry, I found an area where they were holding many of the Pylonese refugees. I took out this segment of bandits and released the refugees, bringing the refugee count up to 16, and the bandits down to 3/4, which means I had so far killed just under 48 bandits, not including the bandits which I fought outside of the mission's perimeter. I traveled back to the southern tip, where there was a road into the quarry, and I used this as a bottleneck to fight. I had been using the sword up to this point, but I wanted to try out the new spear. I gave the new weapon a try, and I decided I liked the range of the spear better. But it required 2 hands to use, so I could no longer use my shield. I had been collecting a lot of gear off the bodies, and about halfway through the mission, I realized I had run out of space in my inventory. But I didn't want to leave because I didn't know if the mission would restart, and I had already been doing this quest for nearly a half an hour. I decided to progress up the western edge and accidentally set off an explosive barrel during combat. The explosion launched me into the air, into the lower level of the quarry, and killed me.
Whoa! Oh shit, really? No!
The Pylonese refugee counter was up to 35, and the bandits down to 1/3. I spawned on the northern tip of the quarry across a river. I was outside of the quest area, so I didn't know if I would have to restart the entire mission. The northern tip of the quarry also had a road, so I returned into the quarry and began fighting again. Fortunately, the countdown was still at the same percent, so my progress had been saved.
24.75, went down to 24.18. So it's actually 200 guys. We're talking 200 guys.
This was good to know because that meant I could leave mission sites and come back later. Night was falling. The countdown had dropped all the way to 0, which means I had taken out around 200 bandits at this point. But the quest was not completed. I still had to defeat the Excavatron. I wasn't sure where the Excavatron was, and I had only really explored the outer edges of the quarry. The entire place was still flooded with bandits. I had no choice but to continue finding out until I found the Excavatron. I fought my way down along the eastern edge of the quarry until I returned to the eastern tip. Looking down into the quarry, I was feeling a bit defeated. I still had no idea where the Excavatron was, and I was starting to realize how immense the quarry was as well. I delved into the center of the quarry, but still no sign of the Excavatron. Looking at the map, I saw that the quest marker was actually a bit outside of the quarry. So I left the quarry, flanked the outer edge, and found a fortified area which I had not yet been to. Climbing down, the battle with Excavatron began. The Excavatron was a very hard enemy. It was able to drill underground and kill me almost instantly.
Holy shit.
It was also able to reach me on walls or up on platforms.
Ah, you can get me on the wall. Go ahead. You can get there.
It also had a drilling charge attack, which killed me instantly as well. Eventually, I learned how to avoid its attacks, but I was still unable to do any damage to it. I had to look it up on the internet, but it turned out I could use my blinding flash ability at the exact right moment to stun him and then attack. I could also negate most of his attacks by simply blocking. Even with those techniques, it was a long battle and required patience. It took me over an hour and I died 25 times, but I finally beat the Excavatron.
Okay.
After the fight, the quarry was repopulated with Hernandian soldiers. I noticed the quarry was excavating ruins, which looked similar to the Abyss artifacts which I had been collecting around the world. Eric was now at the quarry as well, and he asked me to help with the excavation, which involved using this elevator and operating this claw machine, which is like the claw machines you find in arcades. The claw was hard to control. It seemed like it should have closed, so I flew down to investigate, only to find that I could not get back up to the tower, as the elevator was stuck up above, and I had to restart my game. I returned to the claw, fastened correctly this time, and the quest log updated and said I should return to Count Roberts. I stopped off at Annabella's and I tried to give her the tench, but once again the game actually wanted me to give it to her assistant in an entirely different location. Count Roberts was grateful and gave me azurite and bloodstone, which I assumed were rare stones, and an engraved gold earring which gave a minor defense and movement benefit. And then I went to Dahlia and sold her all the junk I had picked up.
Have a seat. Make yourself comfortable.
I got on Herspia and traveled to Bloomwood Ranch, where Annabella's assistant was waiting for me to give her the tench. Getting back to the main quest, I set off for Lioncrest Watchtower. I passed a couple of goblins fighting, and nearby some people were doing what looked like Tai Chi in a sandpit, but I couldn't interact with any of them. I passed a communal training ground and gained proficiency in unarmed combat by observing some children. I also found a man named Vincent, who makes and sells furniture in the Timberham sawmill. Some bandits attacked, and then I arrived at Lioncrest Watchtower, which was also overrun by bandits. I liberated the watchtower, and the game informed me that when I liberate strongholds, I may unlock new quests or benefits. A hidden door was hiding behind some foliage, so I burned it off with a fire arrow. Upstairs, I found some nice-looking urns and candelabras and other materials, as well as a full helmet with higher defense. There was also a magical helmet called the Visione, which, once put on my head, would allow me to see spectral memories within a certain area. I put the helmet on, and a spectral memory of the helmet's creator introduced me to the helmet.
If you're seeing this, you're fortunate indeed.
He said it gathers information from the surrounding area to create the memories. He also said it may have side effects on my mind. Leaving the tower, a child in green named Rulipi said their cat wanted to thank me for saving them earlier and told me to follow Gigi the cat, which I did.
Finally! I almost dozed off waiting.
I followed the cat to some ruins in the woods where a projection sat in front of a stone door. The projection taught me a new ability called Nature's Grasp, which would allow me to move large objects. I used Nature's Grasp on the door, and inside the room was another projection, which taught me an ability called Focus, which allows me to regenerate spirit. It did a small puzzle, which required me to use my Force Palm ability. Outside, another child in green named Billwise was waiting. Billwise said they could trust me because I helped the cat and then touched me and said that nature now flows through me.
I have a gift for you.
Then Billwise disappeared in a burst of sparkles. It was getting late and I hadn't slept the night before, so I returned to camp and slept for 12 hours. The quest log told me to meet some knights in town who were talking about the Greymanes. I met them, and a knight named Matthias said he wanted to challenge me to a duel after hearing about how amazing the Greymanes are at combat.
I am the knight, Matthias. I've long wished to test my skills against a Greymane.
We dueled, and I won, but the fight caught the attention of another man named Barden Midler.
You're as remarkable as I've heard.
Barden Midler explained that he was the Marshal of Hernand and steward of Marcus Circus, and he wanted me to fight some bandits for the Lord. In return, Marquis would help restore the Greymanes. Count Roberts had said that he also would like to speak again, so I went to meet him, and he told me he wanted me to check out his fort in the south, which he had lost contact with. The quest marker was very far away, so I put this off for now. I had a few Abyss artifacts at this point, so I decided to level up my health, spirit, and mostly my stamina. I headed down to Springtide Mill to take care of the bandits and liberated the mill. At this point, the quest log told me to check the notice board, and there were 4 new notices. The first was from Farmer Bremer, whose cows had been stolen by bandits. The second was from a Greymane who said they had heard noises from a cave. The third was from Farmer Ibano, who said someone cut off his goat's horns. And the fourth was from William, who was friends with a sheep, and the sheep had disappeared. Using blinding light, I saw there was a place of interest up on a nearby cliff, so I went to see what it was. On the way, I was attacked by bandits and took them down. When I finally arrived, it turned out it was an Abyss Nexus, which I could teleport to. The Nexus was conveniently located overlooking the Hernand Town Valley, so I would be able to conveniently glide around the area from here. I found Ibano, and he said aside from cutting his goat's horns, the thieves had ransacked his house.
The fuck are you? You trying to get me worked up again?
He suspected they wanted a stone he found. Down the road, a man called out to me and handed me a letter.
Excuse me if you got a moment.
It did not say who it was from, but it taught me the skill Keen Senses, which I could use to parry in battle. I found the bandits camped by the river and killed them. At the site, there was a mysterious elixir and a dead body. I took the elixir and I donned the Visione. It revealed the bandits were hired by a man to steal from Ibano, but they didn't find what the man wanted, a glowing rock. The man didn't want to pay, so the bandits killed him. Nearby, I also snagged a Palmar pill. I returned to Ibano to let him know how everything played out. He was upset with me because I didn't lug all of his stuff from the riverbank.
You muttonhead! You can't even carry some boxes, huh?
I gave him the elixir I found. He acted like he had never seen it before, but he took it all the same to sell for money. And that ended the quest.
The quarry floods with endless waves, a spear held out in line. Refugees free, the numbers fall, explosions break the spine. A hidden core, the excavatron, I fall, return, defend, through flashes timed and patience worn, I fight it to the end. A tower cleared, a firelit door, a helm that shows the past, a child in green.